Hello and welcome to PRSay. This is the podcast of the Houston chapter of the Public Relations Society of America. I'm your host, Veronica Sofer with Veronica V. Sofer Communications, and I am so excited to be here with you today because we get to introduce you to another PRSay Houston chapter member. And I want to bring her on. But before I do that, we're going to take care of some housekeeping. If you are listening on the podcast, make sure you hit subscribe. We don't want you to miss any episodes of PRSay. And if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube, drop us some comments so that my guest and I can go back and connect with you. All right, we're going to go ahead and introduce our guest today. We have Priyanka Agarwal joining us. Welcome to PRSay.
Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited to connect. We haven't met in person, and what I love about this show is that members get to know you a little bit better and find out how you got started and what your role is in the industry. So why don't you go ahead and share with us?
So, gosh, it's been many years. I have been in public relations for more than 2 decades now. I actually started my career in India. I started working, I did my master's in public relations in India, and I started working with PR agencies. And at that time, India, there was this whole multinational boom in India, and all of these technology companies like Microsoft, IBM, everybody was setting up shop in India. I'm talking like 23, 24 years ago.
Sure.
That's when I started. And I had the opportunity of working with PR agencies which specialized in technology communications and technology PR. So I actually consulted for companies like Microsoft, Nortel Networks, EMC. And then having worked on the agency side for a couple of years, I was bit by the corporate bug. And I said, okay, I want to move to the corporate side. And I had consulted for Hewlett Packard as well. And that's when I decided, okay, I want to move to Hewlett Packard. But when I did that, very quickly, I realized that I miss the agency life. I miss consulting for different clients. I miss thinking out of the box in different scenarios. I didn't want to be tied to one ship, so to say. So then I moved back. I said, sorry, I can't do this. And I moved back on the agency side, and I had an amazing time, learned a lot. Did a lot of strategic PR planning, media relations, content creation, event planning, the whole 9 yards. And then I got married, and then I moved to the US. So, I moved to the US in 2007, and it was always my dream to study in the United States. So then I decided to do another master's in public relations from the Jack J. Valenti School of Communication. So I did my master's. And while I was doing my master's, I got this great opportunity to intern with a private school. So I started interning with a private school, helping in a very well-known private school here in Houston. And I started interning with them. And I did a lot of communications with them. And then that internship turned into a full-time job. And I was with them for 5 years as the director of communications and alumni relations. Then, of course, my son came along. And, when my son came along, then, your whole life changes.
Yeah.
And that's when I think I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to start consulting. And I started Brainjog Communications. And I happened to do a lot of consulting work in the apartment industry. And as I was doing that, I came across this niche. This is basically, I realized that online reviews are really the driving force, are the key factor driving any sort of a consumer behavior. You want to go on a vacation, you want to look for a dinner,
Sure.
you want to go to a restaurant, you name it, right? And think about it, in the apartment industry, where you are putting aside a huge chunk of your money, a huge chunk of your monthly income on the rent, online reviews are that much more important. And then very quickly, as I was researching this and all of that, I realized that, when the renter is searching for apartments online, they are not only reading the reviews, but they are also reading how companies have responded to those reviews.
Yes, that's true.
So, because that really reflects whether the company cares about its residents, what level of commitment does the company have, etc., etc. So I started I started this consulting where basically my company responds to online reviews for many management companies all over the country. I would say in about a 5-year time frame, me and my team of about 18 writers have responded to about 175,000 online reviews.
Wow. Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes, so it is, in fact, Catherine, who's a lifer, so to say, with PRSay. I met her when I was studying she was my professor at Jack J. Valenti School of Communication, and she was the first person to come on board as my contract employee. So that's how, she was pretty much the person with whom I started doing this. She was my
Mm-hmm.
first employee. Then Laura, who's also active with
Yes.
PRSay, she also works for me as one of my contract employees. So it's been quite a journey to kind of curate and develop this team of writers and help management companies connect with their reviewers and really grow their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that model. And I love that there is such a strong PRSA Houston chapter connection to your business. That's perfect.
Oh yeah, there's a very strong connection. And then I also consult for J Turner Research, which is the leading market research and online reputation management company in the apartment industry. So if I was to sum up my specialization in a word, I would just say reputation management in the apartment industry, but more so reputation management.
Yeah, and that's such a niche in PR because some of us have agency experience, some of us are in the public sector, government space, healthcare space, tech, oil and gas, and then all of a sudden we meet a member like you who's just really niche down. And goodness, who thought that was even an opportunity? And the fact that you were able to do all that research and really grow that business is phenomenal. I totally applaud the work that you've done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit before we wrap up about your experience with the chapter, maybe how it is helping you. I know you're a fairly new member, and so clearly our members have drawn you in so that you saw some benefit. But then just your overall knowledge of PRSA and how it helps entrepreneurs like you.
So, my first interaction with PRSA was actually as a student with PRSSA almost 9 years ago. I also remember, I think I was part of the committee helping out with PR Day. So, it was very rewarding, very satisfying to meet young professionals, experienced professionals, and just really network and interact with each other. And now I am just a relatively new member, and I would really like to reconnect and network. And one thing I noticed as I was filling out the PRSA application, I think one of the questions was your specialization.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not see reputation management.
Yeah.
So, if you were to ask me, I would love to start a conversation in PRSA, particularly the Houston chapter, around reputation management, build some kind of maybe just some best practices, some expertise around reputation management, because really in today's day and age, no business can survive without reputation management.
Yeah. No, that's a really great point. And I think our industry is evolving, and every couple of years we have to relook at how we're serving our members,
Sure.
because jobs that we trained for maybe in college 20 or 30 years ago, some don't exist anymore. And there are a whole slew of jobs that now exist that weren't even in our imagination that, when we were in school. So I think you bring up some really valid points about our organization.
Absolutely.
So, Priyanka, how can people connect with you? If someone wants to get to know you a little bit better, get to know your business, maybe has some contacts for you, because in PRSA, we're all about networking
Yeah.
whenever we can. How can they reach you?
I think LinkedIn is the best platform. I am on LinkedIn. I'll be happy to share my email. It's Priyanka at brainjogcommunications.com. Email me, connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to kind of network, talk, and see how I can value add to everybody at PRSA.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I look forward to connecting with you on LinkedIn. So expect my connect message here shortly. I really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Veronica. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Priyanka. All right, folks, we're wrapping up this episode of PRSay. Again, our goal is to connect you with members so that when you are looking for someone in the space, or maybe just looking to connect with someone in a different space, you know where to go. Our Houston chapter is very active. And if you have an opportunity to come to any of our in person events, please do so. So I'm going to leave Priyanka's contact information in the show notes. So if you are listening on the podcast, make sure you hit subscribe. We don't want you to miss any episodes of PRSay. And if you are watching on Facebook or YouTube, drop us some comments, and Priyanka and I will be sure to connect with you. And we will catch you in the next episode of PRSay.